everyone, it's Alicia and welcome back to my YouTube channel and to my playwriting series. Today I'm going to go over the basic outline of writing a play. What is the process from start to finish? And a lot of the process, at least the first part of it, is the same as drafting a story in any form you want to tell it, whether it's a short story or a novel, which includes outlining and figuring out the beats of the story, and just basically the first process of writing a play is the same as writing any other work of fiction, mapping out and writing, rewriting, those sorts of things. But where it differs in playwriting is you have to plan out how long the play is going to be. The plays can be anywhere from a few minutes long, such as 5 minutes or 10 minutes, to a full-length 2-hour show, to even something like Tony Kushner's Angels in America, which is 2 plays that are each 3 hours long, so a total a 6-hour show. Basically, a play can be as long as you, the playwright, want to, unless of course you are submitting to a certain theater or festival that asks for specific lengths or other requirements. So that's the only restraint really that you would have to keep in mind when outlining and creating the story, is what is your time limit and how to map it out accordingly. So that's the basic step. First of all is map out the story and then write the play itself. And I've already gone over the format, or at least my preferred format for writing a play, in a previous video, which I will link in the description below. But yeah, first, and I know this may seem like a big step, but the first step is to write the play, the first draft. That's the easy part. As I'm sure a lot of writers can attest to, the easiest part of writing any work of fiction is the initial draft, because then, oh boy, then we get into editing, which takes up a lot of time. I should know, my magnum opus in terms of theater right now is my adaptation of Victor Hugo's The Man Who Laughs, and I've been working on that play in one form or another for almost 10 years. And the first draft was written in a single week, in my spring break of I want to say my junior year, either my junior or senior year of high school. The point is, I wrote the first draft in a week, and I was super excited. Little did I know that it would take 10 years to edit. And that's not because I was dilly-dallying on editing, it's because just from the feedback I got, to my own views on the story changing, to characters revealing parts of themselves I hadn't really noticed before. Basically, buckle up with editing, because it's, yeah, basically, writing the first draft is the easiest part and the shortest part. Editing and rewriting is going to take up most of your time as the playwright. And speaking of editing, let's go into how editing works as a playwright. Since plays are meant to be performed and not read, how the hell do you get an editor's opinion when most editors of fiction just sit and read the work because it's meant to be read and not performed? That's where a staged reading comes in. A staged reading is where actors or a group of people get together and just read the play out loud to hear what it sounds like out loud, basically. And this is where you, as the playwright and actors, will catch the bumps in the road. Maybe a monologue's too long. Maybe a certain plot point that you thought was completely clear in your head isn't totally clear on stage. Because it's important to keep in mind that plot elements and story has to be conveyed mostly through dialogue, because if you're sitting way in the back of the theater, you're not going to be able to see a visual cue that an actor does, or see the actor's body language as well. So that's where monologues and more lengthy dialogue comes into play, whereas in contrast to, say, film, where it's a visual medium, so you can shorten up the dialogue and scenes can move from one to another more quickly. In playwriting, dialogue is your best friend, and monologues, and knowing how to convey them well and to do exposition well without it seeming like exposition. So hearing a play read out loud is where you'll hear how smooth dialogue and monologues are. And I'm old school. I love it when a character breaks into a monologue. Monologues aren't really that common in modern theater because I don't know why. Honestly, I can't place the trend why monologues have kind of gone out of vogue lately, but I for one love them. As an actress, I love when a character has a moment to really bear his or her soul to the audience. I love it. So I'm a big fan of monologues. I love monologues. I love when characters get into deep, long philosophical conversations. Those need to make a comeback, and I for one am bringing them back in my work, one monologue and conversation at a time. But anyway, so yeah, a staged reading is basically people getting together and reading the script out loud to hear how it sounds read out loud. Sometimes a staged reading is done with an audience, sometimes not. My play of The Man Who Laughs has experienced both, where it's had a staged reading with actors in front of an audience, and then we'll have a Q&A afterwards where the audience will give their feedback. And I've also had staged readings where it's just me as the playwright and the actors, or just a group of friends in a writing group where you all just sit around the table and assign roles to people and read each other's scripts out loud. And even I've had it where when it's a less formal situation like that, for instance, just me and the group of the actors or a group of friends, I've had it where if it's less formal like that, we'll do a little potluck and make an event out of it, and we each bring cookies or a cheese plate or a bottle of wine, and we just sit and have munchies and read each other's stories. It's a great way to spend an evening with friends, great way to build up a local writing group amongst a group of friends, to give each other feedback and strengthen each other's work. So that's what a staged reading is. And you're going to have more than one, obviously, because then you'll have a staged reading and edit the script as you see fit based on the feedback, and then you'll, maybe a few months or weeks later, you'll do another one. Basically, you have as many staged readings as you feel as the playwright is needed until the work is as polished as you yourself, the playwright, can get it by yourself. Once the script is as strong and polished as you feel it needs to be as the playwright, then you can start submitting it to festivals and theaters. You can submit it to local community colleges or colleges and high school theaters. You can submit it to theaters who are openly taking submissions. One of my favorite places to look for theater submissions as a playwright is Playwright Submissions Helper, and I will link to their Facebook page below. Once a month they print a list of theaters that are taking submissions, about 30 listings each month. That's a great resource. You can, like I said, submit to colleges and universities and high schools, and look around for local theaters, national theaters. It's a matter of the waiting game and the luck of the cards and seeing who will pick up your play. And that's where I am at my stage of The Man Who Laughs. It has yet to be fully staged and fully produced. So that's basically all I can tell you about the process of submitting a play, because that's where I am right now as a playwright. I've gotten the script as strong as it can be with writing and staged readings and then revising. That's where I am. And obviously after this point in the process, then you would have the work staged and have its first production, and I can't comment on that right now because I haven't had that happen to me yet. But yeah, that's the basic outline of what you as the playwright can do on your own with a script. Write, revise with staged readings, and just build your local community with reaching out to fellow artists and actors and friends to get feedback on your work and each other's work. That's where I am right now at this point in the game, and if you're at that stage too, I wish you the best of luck. Once I get to the next stages with my play, I will gladly do an updated video on here's the next phase of having a full production staged. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Again, this was just a general overview of the process. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. Feel free to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications about when I upload. And feel free to follow me on my social medias, which are also linked below. Happy writing and blessed be.